Hello everybody, Hello everybody, we are live from Stadium Drive. I am Matty Day.
I'm Tommy Burns.
We are so back. We are so glad to be back after a Packers victory, sitting at 1-1 with the rest of the division. Tom, how'd you feel about the game?
I felt really good about it. I mean, first half had its problems, everything came back, but like McCarthy was talking about the grit and everything, you finish off that second half with everything, we're going to get in all that. I mean, pretty dominant second half is what you want to see from Rodgers in the offense, Jordy, just everybody playing their part. Defense, they could have got down at that point. They could have stopped, but it was a hell of a game. It was fun to watch. I mean, that second half was the Packers you want to see. It was pretty great. What'd you think?
I'm more interested in what Mike McCarthy thought. Do you think he thought the game was gritty? Do you think they showed any grit out there? Do you think he noticed a little bit of grit?
I think a little. That's some True Grit. Good movie. But,
Mike McCarthy drove by shortly before we filmed this. Very exciting. Means we're probably in for a heck of a show. So let's.
He'll said he'll come back and talk to us a little bit later.
Yeah.
You know, it was not. But you know, Mike's a busy guy.
We hollered, but he said I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers
didn't exactly look at us or acknowledge us, but we felt like he said maybe he was going to come back and talk to us.
Please, Mike. Aaron Rodgers was also seen driving by, and I don't know if you noticed this, but he was still holding the ball. Still. All right, let's jump into this. Let's jump into the defense first. Thomas, you had a chance to watch this game again. We're stepping up our game here.
Yeah.
What did you see on D? What jumped out? Who jumped out?
A couple of people. I mean, right away, the obvious players that you see jump out. I mean, Mike Daniels, for his small stature, and him to come back and blow up plays and use his maneuverability. There was a swim move in particular that he moved and blew up a pass. There was disruption where he didn't even necessarily get credit for a tackle or a sack or whatever, but he made a difference. He was fire. He was in there. Mike Daniels came back, had a great game after last week, which wasn't really necessarily his best game.
And he would tell you the same.
Yeah.
I think he said it, but Mike Daniels essentially creating the spark for the Packers to get back into this one.
That knock on Geno Smith for that Tramon Williams interception was...
That was it. That was a turning point.
Yeah,
and
that was a duck in the air.
Mike Daniels making a play.
Yeah. And which brings us to Tramon. I mean, Tramon Williams...
2 weeks in a row, really.
Yeah. Back. I mean... We know what he's capable of. We know he had this shoulder injury and things came a little bit slow for him or whatever. And, you know, you really, with all the new players and everything this year, we weren't talking about it. I wasn't thinking a lot about Tramon Williams.
No, you had the Sam Shields contract extension. Talking about getting a Casey Hayward back in the fold. Devon House going into a contract year.
Yeah.
Tramon, almost somehow an afterthought. That guy is coming to play this year.
Batted passes, tackles, an interception. I mean, Geno Smith, credit to him, especially in first half. He was getting the ball out very quick. He wasn't giving much of an opportunity. We were getting some pressure, but Mike Neal was one of those guys who was kind of right in there, ready with a hand on a number of plays. And like I said, if it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but you saw him getting in there and getting his hand in. I mean, he's playing leaner, he's playing meaner, he's playing faster, and it was kind of nice to watch.
And credit Geno Smith, though. The guy did make a good couple of throws. That touchdown pass to Eric Decker.
Eric Decker is a hell of a receiver.
Yeah, him going down, that helped the Packers' chances a little bit. Their running backs, a week after they ran for a combined 170 yards, Packers held them to 66. Awesome. So dig that. Keep it up, Pack. Neither of those guys, Chris Ivory or Chris Johnson, not the caliber of a Marshawn Lynch like we had said, but still a potent rushing attack, and the Packers did what they needed to do, worked out some things in the middle, and we hope to see that middle of the D-line continue to stuff those runners. One of the things that you're seeing a bit more of is 4 guys on the defensive line. That was something that they must have cooked up in the offseason, took a look at the personnel, and figured that was a good way for them to get their best playmakers on the field.
You listened to Mike on Monday, and he said schematically what we're trying to do out of it, whether it's a 3-man line look or a 4-man line look, it's a lot of the same concepts or patterns that we run, so we're not trying to trick anybody. It's about utilizing as many defensive players as we can. So it feels like they're not worrying about numbers, what this is, what you call it or whatever, but with him and Capers, they're mixing guys in the field. They're getting players on the field, and they're bouncing guys around, and we'll get into kind of maybe a little bit of Clay. People are talking about where he's lined up, whether he's dropping into coverage, whether he's going and rushing the passer. But if you feel good about what you're doing, who cares what scheme you call it, whatever you do. I mean, it showed up in the second half. I mean, we stopped them. We made things happen. It was nice.
And you didn't have the communication issues that you had in Seattle. There were substitution issues that more or less caused Dom Capers to rewrite his game plan at halftime. Mike McCarthy says they weren't trying to trick anybody by keeping this 4-3 alignment under wraps, but they sure weren't showing it in the preseason. You didn't see them trying this out in the preseason.
Whether you have really any down linemen on the front line, or whether you're doing all elephants, or you just have a psycho-ish package with one real down lineman on the line. I mean, play to your strengths, play to their weaknesses. I mean, and I'll agree with him. I won't get caught too much in what you call a certain formation.
No, and I'll be patient with them too as they continue to work out these new formations. It's going to take a little while.
A little bit. What did you think of Peppers? Keep an eye on him. I mean, it's been a little bit of a slow start for him, but
for such a big dude, like physically, like my eye is not being drawn to number 56 out there. He's not jumping around a whole lot. He had the near interception at the end of the game, or toward the end of the game.
He had a great batted pass that that negated a possible first down, but
sure. They're talking about his snap count and stuff like that. I have no idea how much he's even in there, or what they're really looking to do with Julius. I'm getting like bit around my neck, getting like a Kyle Orton neck beard of mosquito bites.
Might be a throwaway comment we can mention about Hawk just having another steady Eddie game, or we can get into the secondary.
It's not a headline.
No,
though,
I mean we
maybe.
can get into House or Dix or Burnett leading the team in tackles, but
I think I hit everything. House probably deserves a shout out.
Early on the game, like we were talking about, credit to Gino getting the ball out quick. It really didn't give our pass rushers or our secondary a lot to make a lot of chance of plays, but in the second half, you saw some really encouraging things. I mean, Devon House came in with a lot of tackles.
How you doing?
Hi.
Packer fans?
You want to talk about the game a little bit?
Right on.
Want to talk about the game a little bit? No.
Are they going to beat Detroit?
All right.
Yes. Yes.
Packers fans.
Packers fans. Can't say enough about the tremendous fan base.
Can't say enough. But the secondary really, when they could have got down or whatever, they came back, and they had some help from the defensive line, but you saw some encouraging things. Clinton Dex had another so-so game, a lot of missed tackles, but Devon House is in there. We talked about Tramon Williams, Sam Shields, but
one cool little thing, not Devon House. One cool little thing that I noticed was after the game when all the players were walking off, I saw HaHa go up and shake hands with Calvin Pryor. Just kind of a cool moment.
About all the stuff that Rex was talking about
Sure.
and everything.
Two guys going to be probably watched similarly throughout their careers. And it was cool to just see that little moment just walking off the field and set the stage for the offense to do their thing, starting with that 97-yard drive. Take a little harder look at the offense, and we're back.
A tale of two halves about that offense again. I mean, picked it up right before as we mentioned, the Tramon Williams intersection in the second half. What did you kind of see there?
Still kind of waiting for this offense to really get firing on all cylinders, but credit them for being patient, going out there, getting back into that game one play at a time. Rodgers doing it one throw at a time. Rodgers, Worth noting, you have to note that during this game, he did pass Bart Starr to the second all-time passing yardage. Rodgers made a couple plays with his legs, had a particularly awesome scramble for a first down, about 6.5 minutes left in the first half.
Did he end up our leading rusher?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He did not. It was not the Chicago Bears. Hey there.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Did you watch the game yesterday?
Part of it.
What'd you think?
Colts?
No, the pack.
Well, that was one of the
Oh.
exciting games I saw.
I know.
That was great.
When you throw chips down and everything, it was great. What was the kind of thing that stood out to you most?
I liked the catch by Jordy.
Yeah.
He was stretched out like that. That's really a good picture.
He was. He must have stickum on his hands because he was pretty incredible. Very cute little dog you have there.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
We got him. That's the most he pulls me.
Too tough, huh? Have a nice night.
But I guess moving to that, I mean, what a go-to guy with Jordy. I mean, when you need to move the ball and when things are going on, there were some damn near impossible catches. I mean, he would, whether it was up, to the side, back, behind him, or whatever, Jordy Nelson came to play, and it was great. And Cobb, too. He had a lot of amazing catches himself, but Jordy, if you talk about another record-setting game, 207 yards?
209, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. 200, all right.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Last couple guys to do that for the Packers, Javon Walker and Don Beebe.
Wow.
Cool.
Which goes back to another receiver who really kind of showed up and kind of had a little bit of a coming out, was Davante Adams.
A lot of the great wide receivers out there really don't start to come on until that second and third year. Not really high expectations for Davante. I'm impressed. That was a promising showing for the young man. 5 catches to the tune of 50 yards. We hope to see a lot more of him.
That's a hell of a number 3.
Yeah, hell of a number 3.
And the protection was another issue. I mean, we talked about Rodgers taking a lot of time in the pocket. Obviously, a lot of eyes were on Derek Sherrod and watching him kind of closely. I mean, the first half was pretty rough, and there was a moment there where it felt like it could have been really bad because early on he got beat a number of times. I think so he was directly responsible for 3 sacks, just got flat out beat. There was another time when Rodgers got rocked that was directly on him, but he tightened it up in the second half, and he got some help from Lacey, and they kind of
ran the ball right to that right side.
Yep, and maybe shifted him some chips from Lacey and everything on passing downs, but when it could have gone downhill, it kind of steadied out and it kind of got better. And for a guy's first NFL start.
And against that Jets D-line, that's no small task. They did lose Muhammad Wilkerson, ejected after trying to punch a guy wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
Good luck with that, Mo.
Yeah.
What the? Dude,
Jeez, seriously.
Moving
on to special teams.
Moving on to special teams.
3, 2, 1.
Moving on to special teams.
Got in touch with that. I think there's a couple of things to make note of on special teams. Number one, Mason Crosby. Some people got beef with the short 20-yard field goal and some of the other things, but those field goals were instrumental in this win. I mean, to get the points up on the boards and coming in that, I mean, what if you've been down from that much? What if, that would have made it a one-possession game, and when they could have got a field goal, what would have changed things? And then a franchise 55-yarder?
Yeah, longest kick from a Packers kicker at Lambeau Field. Mason Crosby actually having a pretty good year. He's 5 for 5. He's actually 18 for his last 18.
Going back to last season?
Yeah. So Mason Crosby getting his part of it done. You had some good work on the returns. You had a crucial Dwan Harris kick return. It was in the second quarter. Got it back to like the 36-yard line.
It felt like the steam was building.
That was big. I mean, slowly as the Packers were building momentum, that was, special teams are just so incredible. We talked about Seattle DeJuan Harris running balls out of the end zone that he really should have knelt. It's such a the return game can be such a momentum shifter that you're happy to see DeJuan doing some better stuff out there. How you doing? That's not a Lions shirt, is it? That's not a Lions shirt, is it? All right.
A couple notes from the injury report. Micah Hyde left the game with a knee injury. According to McCarthy's Monday press conference, he didn't seem too worried about it. And Micah Hyde himself didn't seem too worried about it. He said it's just a bruise. He expects to be back. But then McCarthy mentioned Andy Malumba, which we didn't really get to see too much during the game, but it sounds like it's pretty serious.
It's a significant injury, which is McCarthy for he'll never play again. You're going to have injuries in any given football season. We definitely know that as Packers fans. For somebody like a Malumba, kind of a role player, a special teamer, he actually got a game ball for special teams on Sunday. So you hate to see a special teamer go out like that.
I want to say one quick thing that we can maybe edit in from the front.
Okay. That dude just walked way around us instead of coming to talk. Come talk to us, people.
Come on, baby.
Come on.
With Tremon's big game and him coming back, I think McCarthy summed it up. It was at the end of his press conference on Monday when he basically said, Tremon's back.
Welcome back, Tremon.
Hi.
And now, your weekly spin around the division.
Brought to you by
Mills, fuck you. All right.
Start with the guys who were not playing. Chicago and Minnesota. Minnesota up against the Patriots at home, outside.
Outside, home.
I think people were ready to write off the Pats, but they came back. It wasn't even a spectacular Brady game. I mean, he had 100-some passing yards. They did it on the ground a little bit, but 30-7,
Yeah.
I believe it was. That was, I mean, they're all in game for some of the praise that was coming in last week, and we talked about, you know, they were playing a pretty down on their luck St. Louis Rams team, and then to see them at home with the Patriots coming into town.
And coming back to earth.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it, you can't discount the absence of Adrian Peterson on that offense. And switching to the Chicago Bears, San Francisco 49ers game, the 49ers' first game at their whatever stadium. Need I say more? Kind of happy. I don't know. That was kind of one of those meteor games, man. You're not pulling for anybody. I did realize I could enjoy the game if I saw both of them doing stuff really poorly. And it happened. It was great. It started out with the Bears just doing awful stuff.
It felt like it was a 49ers game early on.
Oh, yeah, big time. The numbers, I mean, I think the numbers on offense for the Bears were just pitiful. Yeah. Jay Cutler did outrush Matt Forte.
Yeah, pretty poor game from Matt Forte.
But
nuts. They kind of had a tale of two halves. I mean, they came back 3 touchdown receptions for Brandon Marshall.
I stopped watching when it was like 20-3 in the third quarter and came back downstairs for the fourth quarter, man, and it was 28-20. Yeah. I mean, that's nuts. So it was cool. We got to see the Bears do very poorly and the 49ers implode. Yeah. And Jim Harbaugh came out and called out the 49ers fans for not being loud enough.
Really?
Yeah. Awesome. So cool. I mean, like a lot of not our favorite teams facing off there.
And another note, Charles Tillman out for the year. I mean,
that's too bad.
Yeah.
I respect Peanut Tillman.
You do. I mean, it sounds cliche, but you don't wish injury upon anybody, and he's been a huge part of that defense for a good long while. And I mean, to lose him with the Bears defense is already really struggling, and is, again, we talked about last week, that is not a Bears defense that you look through. They're more offense oriented.
Oh, hold up. Hey, what do you guys think of the stadium? What do you think of the stadium? Yeah. Fuck you. But keeping it in the division, here we go. First divisional battle of the 2014 season. The Lions in Detroit. You scared?
Potent offense. I like Jim Caldwell, regardless of that 1-15 season that they had and everything. He's a great quarterback coach. I mean, I think you saw it. He's got the weapons. I mean, I love Jordy. I love everybody else. I can't deny. I'll say that Calvin Johnson is the best receiver in the National Football League. Reggie Bush, Joique Bell. I mean, they have the tools, but it sounded like there was a lot of turnovers and a lot of near turnovers for the Lions.
You have the Lions team that you saw in Carolina was a lot different than the one that you saw week 1 in Detroit.
The Giants.
Yeah, you had a confident, comfortable team at Ford Field, and down in Carolina, it was a completely different story. You had
credit to their very good defense
and good coaching. I remember when Ron Rivera inherited that team, everyone was just kind of saying there was a feeling of you almost felt bad for the guy, for the situation he had to work with. There was an empty cupboard, and that guy has coached up that crew. That's not even an incredibly talented team. It's just very well coached, and the Packers will be playing them later this season. Detroit going down to Carolina, could not get it done. Handed over the ball, I think 4 times. You had interceptions, fumbles. I mean, that's still a really good D-line. I mean, I think they had 4 sacks on the day, 3 of them coming from the D-line. C.J. Mosley, one of the other guys in there, I think he had 2 sacks on the day, all on his own. Donkey Kong Sue did not get in there. Did you see that? Did you see that interview with Cam Newton answering the same question?
He was doing the
5
Arian
times,
Foster thing? Yeah.
Deadpan. I'm just trying to, stay protected from Donkey Kong Sue.
Hey man, do you want your same canned answers who they're really not saying anything like God love him, Mike McCarthy?
Yeah.
Or do you want something that's kind of a little bit funny?
I'm calling me immature. I thought that was really funny. But then, actually, one of the things that Detroit is really struggling with right now is an absolutely ravaged secondary. I mean, they are hurting back there, and they plug new guys in, and they get hurt. I mean, they already had 1 practice squad guy playing against Carolina. They might have another one. It's incredible.
Week 1 against the Giants, they had 2 guys go down.
Yeah, I mean, they're just it's a very tough year for those defensive backs in Detroit, and that very well could be ripe for Rodgers and his stable of receivers. And the Packers have had their share of injuries hurting them at the right tackle position. Detroit, same thing. I believe they've played 4 different starting right tackles this year. Part of that is because they've been rotating in a couple of guys, get some rookies, getting them experience, or getting one of their rookies experience. But that could be favorable for the Packers on defense as well. Another noteworthy topic for Detroit, their kicker this year has only made 2 out of 5 field goals. And
tough ones, or?
The longest was 28 yards. He's missed kicks from 43 and 49 this season. He was perfect in the preseason. Rookie kicker, 7th round draft pick out of Boston College, John Freeze. They're talking like they don't know if he's going to be the guy. Caldwell has yet to really fully endorse the guy. Could be a bit of an issue for him, but
we saw what a really important part. It's easy to discount, but for us, Mason's field goals were a huge determining factor. And if you march all the way down the field and you bank on at least walking away with 3 points, and you don't get those 3 points, and you turn it over, say if you're kicking from the 30-yard line, 35-yard line.
That's field position. That's a part of the battle you don't want to surrender.
Yep. It's
2012, it just felt like no matter how good the offense was, if they didn't get it in the end zone, you were chewing your fingernails off when Mason Crosby went to line up. So we've been there, Detroit. We'll see if Caldwell's as patient as our coaching staff.
Okay.
Wow, I got a lot of that stuff. All right. But week 1, you saw
Am I an asshole if I play Joik Ballard? Play Joik Ballard fantasy football.
That's why I can't play fantasy
know.
football. Don't ask me this stuff, man. Oh, jeez.
Continue on.
You saw week 1 a confident, comfortable Detroit offense and defense. Matt Stafford had that one incredible touchdown pass to Calvin Johnson. You don't even try that pass unless you're feeling pretty good. Are they just going to be one of those teams that's going to have that split personality, dominant at home, weak on the road? We'll see. I mean, we're going to get the dominant side more than likely. All these teams sitting at 1-1. Nobody's hitting the panic button in the NFC North just yet, but they're going to come out to play. Which brings us to this week's predictions. Thomas, how are you feeling about this game?
I think it leans to the way of being a high-scoring affair. Both offenses are very capable. Both defenses have some of their weaknesses. Yes, we saw a strong performance from the Packers, but you cannot negate week 1 and what we saw there and some of their vulnerabilities against some talent. They're at home again, home field advantage. I think some points are going to be put up on the board. 34-27 Packers.
All right, 34-27. Well, Tommy, I was cruised over to DetroitLions.com. I was looking at their power rankings, and the note that they said about the Packers was not as good as expected, at least not yet. I think this is a Packers team that's just going to baby step their way up the chain. And you know, this is going to be one of those games where they continue to put things together. Golden Tate was on record saying after the Panthers game that the only team that can beat the Detroit Lions is the Detroit Lions. Golden, consider the Packers honorary Lions this week. I'm also looking for a shootout. I'm not looking for quite as many points scored. But I think there'll be disruptions on both sides of the ball. I think the pass rush will be fairly successful for both teams. I think the difference is going to come down to the banged up Lions secondary against our ball hawking perfect secondary. And I'm also going to be hard on the kicker, John Freeze. You're going to miss at least one kick. I will say Packers 27, Lions 21.
I can hang with that.
All right.
I'm cool with that. Take that any day.
As long as you can hang with that, Tommy. So that's it. We are 1-1 on the season, predicting the winners anyway. Our scorers are coming along. We'll get some incentive in here. Say if one of us gets one of the scores, one team's score right, got to buy the other one Joe's Texas Barbecue or something like that.
Shout out to Joe's. Check him out on Ashland.
Yes, man. All right. Thanks for hanging with us today, Packer fans.
If you get the feeling, stop by sometime. We'll talk to you, chat, see what you feel, whatever. You said it's not too hard to figure out when we do this, where we do this.
Although we got at it a lot later this week. Look at the bright lights behind us. Beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin. I am Matty Day.
I'm Tommy Burns. Mike McCarthy's back in there eating pizza and watching film.
And we were live from Stadium Drive.
Woo!